Poverty is a dream killer. It also robs us of our dignity as human beings. I assist children acquire the key to a successful life through education. I am Ndung'u Nyoro, and this is my story.
Abject poverty is demeaning, an assault on the dignity of those that suffer it. Although Kenya's economy is the largest and most developed in Eastern and Central Africa, a study shows that 16.1% of its population lives below the international poverty line. This severity is caused mainly by economic inequality, corruption, among others. This state of poverty has denied lots of the Kenyans a chance to acquire the key to success. Ndung'u Nyoro, a family man and a philanthropist, is determined to see the less privileged students in the society live up to their full potential. But who is this man with a golden heart?
I was born almost 42 years now in a place called Igore Farm. But after a couple of years, my parents relocated. We moved to Molo. Molo is in Nakuru County. And that's where I would say my foundation was set. Because I got to get to school, nursery school, primary school, studied at a place called Mona Primary School in Molo. And then later on, I joined Nyoro High School.
His Christian background molded courage and confidence in him that catapulted his studies to greater heights.
Leadership for me, it's something, I don't know how it developed. But again, I was very, very playful. And even the teacher used to put in the report form that he can do better, but he's too playful. I was, that kind of a boy who, I love where there is activity going on. But I was doing very well. I was still leading. So when I moved to secondary school, one of the advices my father gave me was that he doesn't want to hear that I'm a prefect in high school because he feels it is what is distracting me. And I took it seriously. But in between there, I was appointed. It's not something that I vied for. I just happened, one of the teachers nominated me to a leadership position in Form 2. Here I am, I've been told by my parent, he doesn't want to hear. Now this is a teacher here who has nominated my name and it has been endorsed, I've been picked as a captain. I could not say no.
Upon clearing high school, Ndung'u joined a technical college to pursue a diploma in pharmacy.
So I finished, I started looking for opportunities. It was quite a task. I had my low season that time, where you have no one to run to, you have no job, and you have no meals to keep you going. It was a serious struggle.
Fortunately, God opened a door for him and he secured a job in line with his training.
I practiced for 13 years in what I was trained to do as a pharmaceutical technologist. I worked with different companies, import and distribution. For all those years, he was able to climb from a medical representative all the way to a country manager. And by the time I was feeling God, calling me to a different space, I think I've been able to traverse the better part of this country, and I was able to meet people in their different challenges, especially health-related matters.
His interaction with people in need birthed a call inside of him, and Ndung'u realized that he needed to act urgently.
Professionally, I was at the apex of my career, and I was, things were working right. you have a nice job, you have a nice car, you have a nice family. You're up there, your peers, they are who is who, in the industry. But like I told you, I love being with people. And through those interactions, you get their experiences. And I'm going to hospitals, seeing patients suffering. Somebody is in, not able to access treatment just because they don't have the funds. And I could mobilize my friends so for those simple interventions. And the simple interventions gave birth to serious interventions, because we reached a level where we could fundraise for people who are suffering from terminal illnesses, some to be treated here. Others, we could even now raise funds to take them to countries like India for specialized treatment. So that is what kept on coming. And when we raise fund and somebody goes to hospital, they are treated, they come back and they tell you thank you, you feel something different. And then I realized I'm getting more fulfilled through these interventions than even the salary I'm getting.
Serving humanity in his own capacity opened doors for him to exercise his philanthropy and at least impact a life positively.
I was invited by one of our local banks. They have a scholarship program. And they usually identify these beneficiaries at the end of the year. So they asked me to join their board so that I can help in identifying, vetting and coming up with the most needy, candidates who most deserving, who are very, very, needy, but also have other factors, like they are very hardworking, they are very focused. They know that this is the opportunity they need to change their life story. So I was in that group. So being in that board, again, introduced me to a different life that I was not, I didn't know. I should be honest, I knew that I've been raised by a humble, parent. We were struggling to do ABCD, but we never slept hungry in our home. My father, my mother, they could toil. But now being in this board selection committee, I'm visiting homes where kids have not eaten, even for weeks. You're visiting homes where kids are even living on their own. I mean, I've been brought up in an environment where I have the love and, and attention from my father and from my mother. I have schooled with such kids. But now I'm here where you find homes where kids are on their own. Then I realized people are having problems. So gradually, the feel that I had for supporting people who are sick, I started again moving towards the education bit, because I used to tell myself, so what if we give this one child a chance? They can change the whole story of their family, generation kind of problems. They can be able to get a good job for themselves. They can afford decent clothing. They can at least afford a meal, if not 2 or 3 meals in a day, at least a meal. They can be able to support their siblings. They can be able to support their mother. You have restored, and they have been able to regain their dignity. At least the basic things in life. So that challenge is what birthed Affecto Watoto Wasome ministry.
Going out there to toil for his family was heroic, but Ndung'u felt more satisfied lending a helping hand to the less privileged in the society. What happened next after quitting his well-paying managerial job? Find out more after this short break.
FamilyNews.Today provides an escape room from the clutter through our podcasts, from church escapades
get disappointed with God. And I think it's a misplaced anger.
to daily devotionals,
The beauty about God's love is that it was focused on all that God had.
to financial and life tips, bedtime stories for your child. All these and much more available just for you on FamilyNews.Today on Spotify, Google Podcast, and SoundCloud. Insights at your fingertips.
Lack of access to education is a major predictor of passing poverty from one generation to the next, creating a cycle of poverty. It was at the apex of his career that Ndung'u opted to help break this cycle by giving underprivileged students a chance to education.
So I picked one, came to my online community, asked them to support. And, it was supported, and another, and another, and another. Within no time, all those kids have been able to join school. And because I've mentioned, we support the very, very vulnerable, then it means you have to go do full support.
The support the students received to join high school pushed Ndung'u to register a ministry that would see a bigger number of needy students get scholarships.
Affecto Foundation is an organization that was registered on 16th of January in the year 2018 to run charitable causes. But our main program is on offering scholarship opportunities for high school students. Somebody comes from very poor background, but they have thirst and desire for education. They have this belief that perhaps an opportunity in class will be strong enough to give them a fighting chance in life. And looking at it, I'm also who I am because my parents educated me.
With poverty being one of the main hindrances to acquiring proper education, who qualifies to be in Affecto Foundation?
We allow all the organizations to identify program beneficiaries. They take them to school. They allow parents also to take to school, their children to school. Then we have another category of students who have no one to turn to, whose dreams are about to crash, and they're left back in the villages. So others are already in school, they have already started learning. Then we have these students who are back in the villages. Affecto Foundation goes for them.
Alice Gade, a firstborn in a family of two and an Affecto star, narrates how, in her desperation, God sent help her way.
I was born and raised at a place called Gashie. I went to a good school in primary school, but my father was struggling to pay my fees. Being a carpenter with the on and off jobs, he has a job this time, this other time he doesn't. But because I was an excellent performer, the head teacher understood. I remember her paying for my educational trips at some point, giving me lenient time to pay my school fees. Even at the point of completing my KCPE, I had not completed my school fees for my primary education. So my brother is the one who adopted the debt. And I did well in my KCPE. I scored 386 marks out of the possible 500. I got a calling letter to a very good school, a girls' school, and I was excited to go there. And I would see the struggle, the up and downs that mom, that dad were going through, trying to secure this position for me in this secondary school. And at some point when we could see that there was no hope, he decided to take himself to that school so that he could plead for additional time for me to join. secondary school, and he was granted a week's time. And in this week, we knocked doors. We went from a relative to a relative. We went from churches to churches. We really gave it all. And we finally got an amount worth going to school. This is where we did a bit of some shopping, box here and there, personal items. At this point, all of my friends had already gone to school. I was the only one at home, and I was amongst the top performers in my neighborhood. So I was actually feeling bad. My self-esteem had gone low, because I was feeling that there was no point of doing well, if doing well would also mean I would struggle. But when we finally got amount worth taking me to school, I was excited, because now I saw light at the end of the tunnel. And my mom, my dad, they both took me to school. I remember along the way, I mentioned that, today I'll be taking githeri while you guys are taking good meals like meat or something, but I'll be here taking githeri. And we would all laugh in the matatu. Actually, people were looking at us, because we went chatting here and there of how my experience would be, of how when I come back home, I would have added weight. Those stories that we hear about high school. And we got there, and I was so excited looking at the list of the students who had been admitted in Form 1, and I was the second highest, because I remember the first one had 388, then I was the second with 386. So I was assured, definitely I'm getting into this school. They have 2 uniforms, there's a swimming pool. I was really excited to fit in and to start working hard. But upon arrival, the head teacher, the principal, there said that there was no space for me. They actually sent my dad out of the office, and they gave him the money that he had deposited to school, and they told us to go home. We tried to plead. My dad got there again, and then he was sent back pleading, but nothing bore any fruit. It was all in vain. And that was the first time I saw my father shed a tear.
So we have this young girl who has worked so hard in life. She has done her best. She has watched her parents struggle. And now when there was hope that she will move to the next phase, somebody crushes that hope. I want you to see a young girl helpless with a big box in school, a box that she had put all her dreams of starting a new journey. So see the new student here who is even in her mind planning how she will, study and extend so that she can catch up with the others in this new school. Then you get in, you're told they no longer need you.
Frustrated, downcasted, and hopeless, the family collected their belongings and left the institution.
Difference from when we were going to school, whereby we were chatting in the matatu. This time we drove home quiet. No one was talking to the other. And we got home, we unpacked, and we made calls to our family members so that we could tell them what had occurred. And my uncle, being very active on social media, he decided to post the incident on Facebook. But then that did not bear any fruit. Then I could see that we are angry, but what is this anger bringing to the table? I am still at home, everyone is at school, it's 3 weeks past when everyone had joined, so what do? I took myself to the day school. I did not even have uniform, but the principal in the day school knew about my story. I had mentioned that my uncle had posted it on social media.
Her story was carried in one of the local stations, and Affecto Foundation came to her rescue.
We visited the home, and I interacted with the girl. I could feel, the focus in her. I could feel the thirst she has. And I told her, utasoma. And because I could tell that she was very, very aggressive, I had to look for opportunities where we can accommodate her in a boarding school.
And then the next thing he told me is, everything he touches must shine, and so I will shine. And I've always carried those words with me since that day. It was February. I've always carried those words because they are words of assurance that I will shine. If everything he touches must shine, so I will shine.
Alice embraced the golden opportunity to break the poverty cycle, and she knew she had to put her best foot forward.
I found them sitting for their midterm exam, term 1. I did not want to do the exam, but I had to, because I could not just sit and watch people doing the examination. Remember, I had only attended school for 2 weeks, and here I am doing an exam. They had already gone way past the syllabus. I struggled a bit. I remember I got a C in that exam. But then I looked at my mom when I went home at the end of the term, and I told her, this is the last time you're seeing this grade. This only happened because I had not caught up. And the years that followed, I worked hard. I used to wake up very early in the morning. I used to go for preps even on Sundays when we were not supposed to go for preps then. And I ended up being position 1 at the end of Form 1, position 1 with an A. And I call it God's grace and my hard work, because since then I was always position 1 up to Form 4. And along my educational journey, of course, I was interacting with Mr. Ndung'u Nyoro over my school holidays. Even in school, when I needed to call, I would call. I would request for pocket money. I would request for shopping. And I met a new family, the Affecto Stars family. Now here I felt a sense of belonging. There was a sense of belonging because everyone had their own unique story. You would listen to this one say this is what happened to them, the other one say this, and you would feel like, you know what, I'm really not in need. If this is what happened to you, then I think I am better off. So we encouraged each other.
Affecto Ministry treats all the students equally, giving them equal chances to fight in life.
When students come for holidays, we have a boot camp for about a week. We bring all our students from across the country and we allow them to bond. Boys, girls, all of them. We have sports, we have, all sorts of activities that can help them, interact. And then we bring in professionals. They come and talk to them, about their challenges, about their careers, the dreams that they have. If you want to be an engineer, you get to see an engineer, you have sessions with them. So through all this, the students, they start getting shift in mindset. They start seeing life differently.
And this is where in the mentorship, I realized that I can talk in public. I had not known. I did not know that I was a good public speaker, but in these mentorships I was given platforms to share my story. I was given a platform to share my experience in timely wise. And I did it well, and I felt good. And I decided if I can do this here, I can also do it in school. And so in school I ventured into leadership positions. I went from the class prefect to the academic captain to the head girl in Form 3. And the responsibility built resilience in me.
And as we speak, 53 of our students have transitioned from high school to universities across the country. And they're doing quite well.
Alice is one of the many stories impacted by Affecto Foundation and given a fighting chance through education. But how does Ndung'u manage to put through and maintain over 130 students in school?
Initially, we could do a lot of, aggressive campaigns, telling people, please come. We still do those campaigns, but Kenyans are more receptive now. Just about a week ago, we had an online appeal asking Kenyans to come and help us raise some school fees. And we usually ask Kenyans not to give us so much, just 100 shillings. And that 100 shillings, again, we tell people, why don't we skip our lunch and see whether this lunch can be a solution to somebody's child. In that skipping of lunch, in 2 days, we were able to raise 1 million Kenya shillings. From online community. So Kenyans have become very, very receptive to genuine causes, to causes that they can be able to see what, how things are going. And I am very, very proud of who we are becoming as a community.
Alice got a paradigm shift after joining the Affecto family, and her life has never been the same again.
I have learned so much. I feel like I am a corporate young lady at this point. Even before joining campus, I had already started working. So even after securing a position at Kenyatta University, where I am currently, to do economics and statistics, I had an idea of how an office works, the structures, what to do. I had already started wearing official, and I go to class in my official wear and people think I am so formal. And in here at Affecto office, I have met great people who have been of impact in my life. I have stood on the shoulders of great people. I tend to believe I am a child of the community because it's the donations from the people that helped keep me in school.
Seeing the amount of transformation Affecto has brought to the community and the students, Ndung'u is thankful to God and to anyone who had been extending their hand to support Watoto Wasome program.
I have a lot of respect for my online community because this ministry belongs to them. When we said Watoto Wasome, they had an option of just saying, niko na watoto wangu nyumbani. I have enough of children to take care of. But even having those skills, even having your own challenges, even having your own needs, they still believe that you can spare your lunch for someone else's child to be able to afford to go to school. I have huge respect for my online community, and they have never let me down.
And to anyone leaning on the needy side of the scale and their hope of breaking the cycle of poverty hanging on a thread,
do your best where you are. If you give your best, somebody somewhere will notice. Somebody somewhere. So don't look so much at what you're not able to have or so much what you're not able to get. Even in primary school, give it your best. You do your bit and say, I scored 430, nobody took me to school. Do your bit. Don't say that there are no people to take people to school because your neighbor's son or your neighbor's daughter didn't go to school. Do your bit. In that area of you doing your bit, God does his bit as well.
I can't wait for a time where I will also hold the hand of a person, of a needy child, children, as my hand was also held. I can't wait for a time where I would also be a donor at Affecto Foundation. The 3 years I've spent here, I know how it feels to see a parent crying and then seeing them smile when their child goes to school. I know the feeling of being hopeless, then being hopeful. So I can't wait for that time.
If you have a story you would like to share with us, kindly text us on 20316 or WhatsApp on 0786 316 316 and we will get back to you.